Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya om shanti shanti shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Welcome to the second session. In this session, we will do nothing new, exactly the same thing. We are going to go back to the real self, the Atman, Brahman, but we'll take a different approach. That's the beauty of Vedanta. Each of the Upanishads contains a variety of approaches. If one doesn't work, the other will. There's a story about how Hanuman goes to Rama and asks, how can I be liberated? And Rama says, go and study the Mandukya Upanishad. This is the Mandukya Upanishad, it's the smallest of the Upanishads. The Mandukya Upanishad is enough by itself to confer liberation upon those who are seeking liberation. But if that does not work, then Rama gives a list of, I think, 32 Upanishads. Try these. And if they do not work, then Rama gives a complete list of 108 Upanishads. And try those. So there are different approaches. The approach that we are going to take now to the same truth. Let's see if this works. And if the first one worked for you, this one also will work. Once one of them works for you, all of them will work for you. And you can enjoy it. You can enjoy you can taste it in different ways. This one is called the method of the 5 sheaths. It's a well-known method. The method of the 5 sheaths. It's based on one of the Upanishads, the Taittiriya Upanishad. And in this book which we are studying, it's the method which is given in the 3rd chapter. Panchakosha Viveka, that's the name of the 3rd chapter of this book, Panchadashi. By the way, the word Panchadashi, the name of this book literally means 15 chapters. 15 chapters on Vedanta. So each of the chapters takes a different approach to the same question, who am I? Now, the Panchakosha Viveka, this chapter is based on the Taittiriya Upanishad, one of the ancient Upanishads. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, in the 2nd section of the Taittiriya Upanishad, which is called Brahmananda Valli, which means the section on the bliss of Brahman, the bliss of Brahman. In that section, the first paragraph is so profound, it's so beautiful. It goes like this. Let me chant and just translate. I will not dwell upon it, but I'll translate for you. The first paragraph of the 2nd section of the Taittiriya Upanishad. Om Brahma Vidapnoti Param Tadeshapyukta Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman So Ashnute Sarvan Kaman Saha Brahmana Vipaschiteti. What does it mean? The first sentence itself, to me it encapsulates all of Vedanta. The first sentence, Brahma Vidapnoti Param. What does it mean? The knower of Brahman attains the ultimate. The knower of Brahman attains the ultimate. 3 questions arise. Brahman, what is Brahman? Second, how do you know Brahman? Third, what do you mean by the ultimate? Attaining the ultimate sounds nice, but what is that? 3 questions, and the answers follow in the 3 sentences after this. What is Brahman, the absolute reality? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahman is infinite consciousness and existence. Brahman is infinite consciousness and existence. If you want an explanation of this, I have a talk which I gave 2 or 3 times. You'll find it, a couple of versions on the internet. It's called Defining God. It's about this one little sentence. Brahman is infinite consciousness and existence. So I'm not going to talk about that now. The next part is what we are going to talk about in this session. How do we know Brahman? How do we realize that we are Brahman? The second sentence tells that. What does it say? Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. You have to realize Brahman as residing within the sacred space of the heart. That bears repetition. Brahman, how do I know Brahman? It has to be known as within the sacred space of the heart, of the cave of the heart. That's the literal translation. That's just a fancy way of saying you have to realize Brahman as I am Brahman. Not God is Brahman, or not the universe is Brahman, or not the book or the table is Brahman. I am Brahman. That's the way to realize it. How do you do that? That's what we'll see today. But just for sake of completion, the third question was, yes, you actually are following me. We have a serious group here. Because often the audiences will go, yeah, what was the third question? The third question was, what is the ultimate? What will I get out of all of this? So ashnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipaschiteti. The one who realizes I am Brahman attains the fulfillment of all desires. All desires. Now be careful, it does not mean, does it mean that I'll attain the fulfillment of all desires, that I'll win the California state lottery and become a billionaire or at least a multi-millionaire, and I will get this very nice gluten-free body, and I'll get the latest iPhone, and my relationships will be perfect, I'll get a house overlooking the ocean in Santa Barbara, and I'll also get parking. And does that mean when you say all my desires will be fulfilled, this is what it means? It sounds great. No. I'm sorry, it doesn't mean that. What it means is, you see, what are we trying to attain through the fulfillment of all these desires? Our lifelong projects, this and that, what are we trying to attain? Complete peace and satisfaction and transcending suffering. That's basically what we're trying to attain. We might not give it such a grandiose name. I'm trying to transcend suffering and attain perfect peace. No. You might just say that I'm trying to make it through one more day of my life. But basically what we are trying to do is that. Trying to get some peace and joy and overcome suffering. Attaining Brahman, one attains ultimate peace and joy and transcends suffering forever. That's the promise. That's the promise. So in that sense, you reach the culmination of all desires. Because having attained that, there is nothing greater that you would like to attain. And having attained that, there is no sorrow in the world that can shake you. I'm quoting from the Gita. Na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. By the heaviest of sorrows, physical, relationship, worldly, financial, whatever, or all of them together, nothing can shake you once you are established in Brahman. And there is nothing more to attain. If good things happen, well and good. If they don't happen, fine, you've got the best of everything. So that is what's meant by attaining Brahman. But today that's not our subject either. Our subject is, how do I know Brahman? And the next paragraph after that shows you the way of the 5 sheaths. The discernment of the 5 sheaths. Remember, what did the section say? How do I attain Brahman? You have to see Brahman in the cave of your heart. What does the cave of the heart mean? And does it require bypass surgery or what? We will see. We will see. That's the next section which is coming up. The basic idea here is, Vedanta says you are Brahman, and the biggest stumbling block there is, our immediate reaction is, no, I'm not. Whatever Brahman is, I don't think I'm very Brahman-like. I am this guy, this person, this man or this woman. This is who I am. This is my life. These are my experiences in life. These are my hopes and sufferings and so on. This is who I am. Sometimes you say life is good. I hope it continues to be this way. Sometimes you say life is pretty bad. I don't know when it will come to an end. I'm having a bad run. It's going to come to an end, and hopefully things will turn up. This is who I am. I'm not Brahman. You see, it's like Mark Twain said, it's not what you do not know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know that it just ain't so. That's what gets you into trouble. I am quite sure I am not Brahman. Why am I sure I am not Brahman? Here is the method starts here. Because I see myself as this. If you ask, who are you? What are you? I'll say this. And somebody points to this body and says, what is this? I'll say, it's me. It's I. I am this. This is me. We are firmly rooted in this idea that I am a body-mind complex. This is what we have to get rid of. We have to eliminate from our understanding what we are not. Don't worry, we're not going to get rid of the body. It's going to be there. You can still go back home, you can have a nice lunch after this. The body will be there and you can eat and it'll digest the food also. Everything will work fine, even after this session. But you will realize that's not who you really are. Just like if I realize I'm not the shirt, doesn't mean that I have to take up the shirt. I can go on using the shirt. But I am not it. That's how we are going to realize I am not this body-mind system. The Upanishad says, you don't think you are Brahman? I say, no. Who do you think you are? Here, this. You mean the body? Yes. All right, let's start there. The Upanishad uses what is called in ancient India, Arundhati Nyaya. Arundhati is a faint star in the sky. It seems that in marriage ceremonies, I don't know if they do it now also, but in marriage ceremonies, the bride, it was considered auspicious that the bride would be shown the Arundhati star. How would she be shown the Arundhati star in the night sky? She would be first shown, because it's very faint, you cannot point, you can't just say it's there, you won't see it. You have to point out the branch of the tree. Here's a tree, look at the tree, yeah, I see it. Look at the topmost branch, I see it. Next to it, you see that bright star, I see that. Yes. Next to that star, just below it to the left, you see a faint star. Yes. And below that, you see a very faint star. Yes, maybe. That's Arundhati. So to point out something very subtle, you start with the physical, with the gross, with the obvious, and then take you step by step. Any teacher knows this technique. From the known to the unknown. It's a poor teacher who starts at the level of his or her knowledge. You must start where the student is. So from the known to the unknown, from what is near to what is distant, from what is to what shall be. You have to proceed in that way. It's the golden rule of teaching. And the Upanishad does that, and this method does exactly that. So we are going to do it now. Start with the body. This body is called Annamaya Kosha, the sheath made of food. Annamaya means made of food, a modification of food, a transformation of food. Why? Because clearly this body is what we eat and drink. It's been transformed into the flesh and blood and bones of our body, what we eat and drink. Now, am I this? We'll say immediately, yes. At least this is really what I am, or part of me. I am basically this body. Now the Upanishad says, take a closer look. Take a closer look. This body changes continuously. Yeah, I know that. But have you noticed what the body was like when you were 5 years old, when you were 15 years old, when you were 1 year old? A vastly different body. Tinier, quite different. Even your mom wouldn't recognize you if you put two pictures together closely. So different. And yet you don't, the person in this body, you don't feel all that different. You know, I was in that body, which is very different from this body. Even the matter in that body is different from this body. Matter is continuously, we're shedding matter and we're getting more matter into the body through food. So, the body has changed enormously. From babyhood to childhood to teenage to youth to middle age to a senior person. Enormous change in the body. And continuous change in the body. Yet, I have no doubt, I was the same person who used to be a baby, used to be a child, a teenager, a middle-aged person, and a senior person. Clearly, I am the same person. You don't think you have changed. You might say, I've changed, Swami. I was so, I was so fit and slim in those days. Now look at me. I'm overweight and flabby. Body. So the body changes so much. You don't think, other than the changes in the body, you don't think that you have changed so much. That which changes and that which does not change, they cannot be one and the same thing. That which changes and that which does not change, at least does not seem to change, cannot be exactly the same thing. You, the indwelling self in this body, you apparently do not change, or at least not as much as the body does. And the body changes continuously. Because of this reason, you cannot be the body. One, I'll give you several reasons. These are not just intellectual arguments. First, see intellectually, does it make sense? Then, after that, not only intellectually, see it for a fact. Yes, I am an unchanging presence in a changing body. Second reason why I am not the body. Clearly, I experience the body. I am an experiencer, the seer of the body. It's an object in my experience. We saw that in the first session. The body is an object, I am the awareness in which the body appears. And sometimes it disappears at night. And so what do you mean, Swami, the body disappears? We can see the guy sleeping on the bed. You can see it, but the awareness of the dreamer, that body is not there. Is dreaming about something else. So, you are the experiencer and the body is the experienced. You are the seer, the body is the seen. The two cannot be the same thing. In Sanskrit, drishya and drashta. Drishya means that which is experienced. Drashta means the one who experiences. Because of this reason, you are clearly the experiencer of the body. You are in the body experiencing the body. And the body is an object of your experience. Second reason why you cannot be the body, because you are the seer and the body is the seen. Third reason, you are Chetana, the body is Jada, which means you are conscious, the body is insentient. You are sentient, the body is insentient. You can challenge that. You can say that, no, Swami, the body is not insentient. It's clearly a conscious body. Yes, but the consciousness is your consciousness. I'll prove it to you. You can see it now. It's a startling proof. When you look at your hand, you can try it right now. Look at your hand. The sensation is clearly, subtly noted within. The sensation is, I am looking at the hand, right? That's the experience? Is the experience ever that the hand is looking at me? Hello? No, never. Never. And when you look at the other hand, now look at the other hand. It's exactly the same. The other hand, it's something that you are seeing. It's not seeing you. And in that way, the legs and the belly and the chest and the head, all of these parts of the body, they are things you are aware of. They are not aware of you, the person. Is it making sense what I'm saying? You'll say, so what? You see, if you admit that, you've admitted what I was saying. The one who is aware is always conscious. That which is not aware cannot be conscious. This body is a collection of parts, hands and feet and head and tummy and legs and all of that. None of which are individually aware of you. So the entire collection of this body cannot be aware of you or anything else. You are the one in this body who is aware. Therefore you are sentient. The body is not sentient. It's because you dwell in the body appears to be sentient. Third reason, because you are sentient, the body is insentient, hence you cannot be the body. How can the sentient being be an insentient being? No? You must walk with me here. Clearly there is a difference between you and this book. You are a being of awareness, of consciousness, and you experience this book. You can see it, you can touch it, you can read it. The book cannot see you, touch you, or read you. No, because it has no sentience. Therefore, you have sentience, and the body has no sentience. The body appears to be sentient, appears to be conscious because you are in the body or as somehow associated with the body. Being not sentient, being unconscious, you cannot be the body. You are sentient and conscious. The body is insentient and not conscious. Third reason. Fourth reason. Very simple reason, but startling. Where do you think you are located? You'll always say, in here, somewhere. I don't know where, maybe here in the chest, maybe in the head, somewhere. You always feel you're inner to the body, right? This is crucial. You always feel you're inner. You're in here somewhere. From your vantage point, is the body outside you or inside you? Outside. You are in here somewhere. Right now, look at the feeling of your experience. You are in here, you are embodied. That's the word used. You are embodied. Not embalmed. Embodied. Not yet. You are embodied in the body. And the body is something which encases you outside. That which is outer and that which is inner, how can they be one and the same? That which is outer and that which is inner, how can they be one and the same? You clearly perceive the self as being the inner self, the body as an outer covering. How can they be one and the same? You cannot be the body. And the fifth reason, you can just go on and on. The fifth reason, the body is clearly composed of parts. Hands and feet and head and tummy and organs and tissues and millions of cells. It's a composite working machine. You are not composed of parts. You'll say, oh, I am Swami. I have got hands and feet, body. I have got memories and ideas, mind. Apart from body and mind, do you have parts? You do not have parts. You always see yourself as one person, as one being. You don't think of yourself as a committee. Even people with multiple personality disorder, at any one time, they see themselves as one of the personalities, never as a committee. Yes, you are one. The body is a composite of many. How can one and the many be the same thing? No. 5 reasons, in case you've forgotten. You are unchanging, the body is changing. You cannot be the body. You are the seer, the knower, the body is the seen, the known. You cannot be the body. You are the sentient being experiencing the body is experienced, it does not experience you, it's insentient. How can the sentient and the insentient be the one thing? No, you cannot be the body. And then you have inner and outer. You distinctly feel you are in the body. The body is something external to you. You don't feel you are here, seeing the body here, no. You're in there somewhere. Therefore the body is something outwards. It's an experience, phenomenologically, you see it, experience it in your life. Then the fourth one, you are one. You are an identity. The body is a composite. You cannot be the body. And when you say that, the Upanishad says, you're right. Then who are you? Let's look deeper. Let's look inside. Inside, deeper, subtler. I'm translating the Sanskrit. What do you find? In the body you find the life forces, prana. Prana. Breathing in, breathing out. The physiological forces which sustain the body, digesting food, blood circulating, breathing, and oxygen coming into the body, the carbon dioxide coming out, all the life forces surging within the body, which maintain the body as a living body. It's called prana. Are you prana? Question. Are you prana? Same reasons. Look at it. Does prana change? Yes, it does. Sometimes you are energetic, sometimes you are tired. Prana changes. Sometimes you are hungry, sometimes you are satiated. Sometimes you are breathing in, sometimes you are breathing out. The prana surges and ebbs in your body. You are the one who observes the breathing in and the breathing out. You are the one who observes the hunger and the thirst and the satiety. You are the one who observes, experiences the health and the illness. The changes in the prana are observed by you. Therefore, you are unchanging, the prana is changing. You cannot be the prana. The second reason, you are the seer and the prana is the seen. Isn't it true? Can you observe the prana? You should say yes, because all those Buddhist meditation techniques of following the breath, they would be out of business if you cannot follow the breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, I am here. Breathing out, I am in the now, in the present, here and now. How you anchor yourself using the breath. Clearly you can observe the breath. Therefore you are the seer. In Vedanta we are not interested in the breath. You can keep on breathing, it's highly recommended. But what we are interested in is the consciousness which is aware of the breath. Therefore you are the awareness, you are aware of the breath. The breath is something that you are aware of. It's not you. Because you are the seer, it's the seen. Third, same logic. Is the breath sentient or are you sentient? You are sentient, the breath is insentient. You are consciousness, the breath is inert. By that I mean, when you are aware of the breath is not aware of you. These two arguments are similar. Seer and seen, sentient, insentient. They're linked, but they're different. The first argument is, it's an object, you are the seer of the object. The second argument is, you are sentient, it is insentient. These are two arguments. We'll stop it at that. Because of these reasons, you are unchanging, the prana is changing. You are the seer, the prana is the seen. You are sentient, the prana is insentient. Because of these reasons, you cannot be the prana. And the Upanishad says, you are right. Let's look deeper, subtler, inwards. Who are you? We have already gone deep. Body, prana. This prana is the sheath of physiological functions, is called pranamaya kosha, the sheath of the prana. I am not that either. Deeper than that, you find the mind. Thoughts, perceptions, emotions, these words that you are hearing, sensations that you are getting, memories that are being dredged up. The mind. Are you the mind? Most people would stop here. Our general unexamined opinion about ourselves is that we are the mind. Most educated adult people in the world think of themselves as persons in bodies. Right. You don't identify so much with the body. Yes, it's my body and I am in this body, but I am actually a person. I am actually a mind and a body. Body-mind system. But are we, the Upanishad asks, are you the mind? Same logic, apply it. Does the mind change? Oh yes, I can see people laughing. It does, more than anything else. And you are the unchanging person aware of the changing mind. You do not change, the mind changes. You say, I changed my mind. Which means you did not change, the mind changed. So if the mind changes and you do not change, you cannot be the mind. That which changes and that which does not change, they cannot be the same thing. You cannot be the mind because it changes. Second, are you aware of the mind? Can you become aware of the mind when you introspect? Thoughts? Memories? You say, Swami, no thoughts. Alright, then you are aware of the absence of thoughts. So clearly the functioning of the mind or the lack of functioning of the mind, memories or forgetting, all of these things you are aware of. We are aware of. Clearly that which you are aware of and that which the object, you are the seer and the seen, they cannot be the same. Drashta and drishya. You cannot, the mind is seen and you are the seer of the mind. It cannot be the same. You cannot be the mind. Third argument, and this is startling. Vedanta claims even the mind is not conscious. You are conscious. You are consciousness itself. You shine upon the mind and therefore the mind seems conscious. It's exactly like when you look in a mirror. The mirror doesn't have a face. The face you see in the mirror is a reflection of your face. Similarly, when the mind is in front of you, is near you, the consciousness, the mind shines with your light. And thoughts, feelings, emotions, memories, they all shine in the awareness that you are. It's the first session which we did. So the mind sort of borrows consciousness from you. It does not have consciousness of its own. It's like moonlight. There's really no such thing as moonlight. It's all borrowed sunlight. Right? Though it appears to be moonlight and we call it moonlight and we use it as moonlight. At night we enjoy the moonlight. But it's just sunlight shining on the moon reflected to the earth. In the same way, the mind borrows consciousness from you. This pure consciousness. And then uses it for thinking, for understanding, for sensations, for using the sense organs, for creating the person, the personality. You cannot be the mind because you are the witness of the mind. You cannot be the mind because you are conscious. The mind is also in itself not conscious. It's very simple actually. You can try a little experiment. Just think a thought. 2 plus 2, 4. Or any thought. 2 plus 2, 4. Was that 2 plus 2, 4 aware of you or you are aware of the 2 plus 2, 4? So simple. It is a thought shining in the awareness which you unmistakably are. You are unmistakably awareness. And 2 plus 2, 4 is a thought. Like any other thought. Good thoughts, bad thoughts, emotional, traumatic, peaceful, meditation. All of that the mind does in the light which you lend it. You cannot be the mind. This is called the manomaya kosha, the sheath of the mind. Go deeper. Upanishad says, you are right, you are not the mind also. Now we are really getting into deep waters. Upanishad says, go deeper, subtler, inwards. What is subtler than the body and subtler than the prana, subtler than the mind? The Upanishad divides the mind into two parts, mind and intellect. Why? Because the intellect, which is also the mind, but the intellect is what we are using now, hopefully, to understand what's going on. That intellect, which we are using to understand what's going on here, which we use all our lives, that intellect, am I the intellect? Am I intelligence? We are on very subtle grounds here. Apply the same logic. Does the intellect change?
Yes.
You don't seem to be sure. I did not understand, and now I understand. The intellect changed. I understood many things, but I'm getting confused. Swami, I understood it in the class, but when I leave the class, I become confused again. What's that? That's the intellect. The intellect changes. Definitely it does. Understanding comes and understanding goes. Intelligence changes. You feel very intelligent after a morning cup of coffee. You don't feel so intelligent in the afternoon after a busy day. So intelligence changes. In Sanskrit, it's called Vijnanamaya Kosha. There's a point to this, where we are going. Remember the bride being shown the faint star, Arundhati star. We are going subtler and subtler, inward and inward. The intellect changes. You do not change. Is intellect something that you know? Yes. Remember all the feeling we had when we finally cracked a mathematical problem which we are struggling with as kids, and you say, I got it, I've done it. What happened? The intellect lit up and you experienced it. You are the experiencer of the intellect. You are the experiencer of the understanding of the intellect. You are the experiencer of the not understanding of the intellect. You are the experiencer of a sharp intellect. You are the experiencer of a dull intellect. You are not the intellect, you are its seer, it's the seen. I remember I'd gone to a university to give a talk, and then one of the mathematics professors, he told me, young professor, he said when he heard this, Swami, it's something that we really, really need to hear. I have these seniors, professors, who were really good mathematicians in the prime of their youth, and mathematics, especially pure mathematics, is a young person's game. The equivalent of the Nobel Prize in mathematics is the Fields Medal. And that's given for work done before 40. It's a young person's game. And so, he says, we have these brilliant mathematicians, but as they get older, the mind is not so sharp, not so quick. And they get so frustrated. They get so depressed and so sad. And they keep on writing papers which we know are basically trash. But it's so sad because their identity is so strongly intertwined with the intellect. It's not easy to give it, you're easy to disidentify with the body and say, it's a body, I am the owner of this body or user of this body. But it's very difficult to give up your ideas. The terrible wars that we have fought, from the wars of ideology to the coffee table fights you have between ideas that you have and another person whom you may love, but they hold a different idea altogether. Maybe political ideas, maybe ideas on religion. They're just ideas. There's something in the intellect. Very difficult to disidentify from. But clearly, they are the seen and you are the seer. You cannot be the same. And the same logic applies. Intellect is insentient. You are sentience. You are the awareness. The intellect is like a very subtle machine. Very, very subtle machine. But it's still a machine. It's not you. Suppose I feel very dumb. I don't understand what's going on. But am I still there or not? I'm there. I didn't disappear because the intellect is not functioning. I understand it. I feel very smart. It's the intellect which understood it. And I'm just lighting it up. The understanding in the intellect. You are sentience, the intellect is insentient. Because of these three reasons. You are unchanging, intellect changes. You are the seer, the intellect is the seen. You are sentient, intellect insentient. The Vijnanamaya, the sheath of the intellect is also not you. It's a covering. It's a sheath. You say, okay, let's go deeper. Upanishad says, okay, go deeper, subtler, inwards. When you leave the intellect and the mind and the prana and the body and go inwards, you will see, if you try it now, we will try it a little later in the meditation, you will find a blankness. You will find a blankness. Just nothing. Try it, you will see. If you do not see, if you do not notice your breathing, if you do not notice your emotions or memories, if you do not even notice the thinking, the understanding, just a blankness will come. That blankness is what we experience in deep sleep. In the Upanishad it is called Anandamaya Kosha, the sheath of bliss. Why bliss? I think maybe because ignorance is bliss, blankness. I'm only half joking, because it's absolutely quiet there and absolutely restless. No body, no experience of the physiological functions, no mind working, no intellect churning away, just blank. That quiet and peace, that's also something that you experience. That's not you. That blankness is not you. It's something that you experience. We experience in deep sleep. It's called the Anandamaya. It's not you also, because it comes and goes, one. Second, because it's an object of your experience in deep sleep. Third, because it's insentient and you are sentient. You are awareness, it's not awareness. In fact, it's clearly non-awareness, it's blank. Therefore, you are not the Anandamaya, the sheath of bliss. What have we done so far? Let's take a look. I am not the body, and you know the reasons. Go deeper, the breath, prana. I am not the prana, you know the reasons. Go deeper, the mind. I am not the mind, same reasons. Go deeper, the intellect, which is doing all this. All these activities we are doing is in the intellect. I am not that, same reasons. And then go deeper, the blankness beyond all this. I'm not that either. At this point, we are eagerly waiting. Now he's going to point out, the teacher is going to point out the real self, Brahman, pure consciousness. And you know what the teacher does? Quiet. Nothing. And the student gets confused. Where is the Atman then? You just shown me that I am not the body. I am not the prana, I am not the mind, I am not even the intellect, I am not even the blankness beyond all of these. Then where am I? Where is the real self? Where is this Atman, Brahman, the blessed thing you're going to point out? Where? And the teacher keeps quiet. At this point, a story becomes relevant. Listen to the story, and then I'll show you how to apply the story. We'll apply it in meditation. The story is the well-known story of the 10 friends who crossed a river. When they crossed a river, they thought, have we all crossed over or did somebody drown? Let's count. And one of them made the others line up and counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, the 10th person is drowned. The other said, you're not doing it right. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're right. Our friend, the 10th person, is dead. And they started crying, and this wise person who walks by says, why are you crying, my friends? Oh, sir, we were 10 people, 10 friends crossing the river, and our poor friend, the 10th person, drowned. This person must have counted and seen there were 10 persons. How do you know the 10 persons drowned? The 10th person is dead? We counted. And they were crying. And this wise man said, don't cry, my friends, the 10th person is alive and well. Where? Relax. I'll show you. This is what the Guru does. You are an immortal self, existence, consciousness, bliss. Or if you are for dualistic persuasion, believe God exists. Where? Wait, I'll show you. I'll show you. How? The wise man said to them, line up and you count. He told one of them. We have already counted. No, just humor me. Show me. So he counted and follow this carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the wise man took his hand and turned it around towards him and said, thou art the 10th. Dashamastvamasi. Thou art the 10th. 10. And this guy goes, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Oh, wow. The 10th person is alive. And the others said, let me do it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Oh, the 10th person is alive. Now, we may well laugh at them, but that's exactly what we are doing. How? Let's apply this. This is incredible actually. The story is so deep. Tell me, what was the problem that the person faced while counting? He could not find the 10th person. Why couldn't he find the 10th person? He was looking in the wrong place. Where was he looking? Where? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And he expected there will be a 10th person. Follow this. Why did he look outside? Because he found the first 9 persons outside. So he's naturally, whatever he has counted is outside. He's naturally led into believing the 10th person must be outside. All that we experience through consciousness, in consciousness, is an object of consciousness. Follow this. Everything that we have experienced in life is an object of consciousness. But consciousness itself is not an object. We are trained to look outside. Even if we say, yes, I am looking for the pure subject, we are still looking for an object. We continuously miss the pure subject because it is our habit from life after life to experience objects. They may be physical objects, they may be mental objects, intellectual objects, emotional objects. What's a physical object? Like a body or this table. What's a mental object? A thought. Emotional object? A feeling, happiness. Intellectual object? Understanding something or not understanding, memory. They are all objects. And we have been trained to, have a habit of looking for an object. Now, when the Upanishad tells us you are pure consciousness, what do we try to do? We start looking for pure consciousness. Where do we look? As an object. You're never ever going to find it. This beautiful saying, God is the one looking through the eyes looking for him. O Lord, thou art the one who is looking through the eyes which are looking for you. You'll never ever find it. Now when you don't find it, the reaction will be, it doesn't exist. There's no such thing. And the student says to the master, so I'm not the body, not the prana, not the mind, not the intellect, not the blankness beyond the intellect. So the Atman doesn't exist, the self doesn't exist. And the teacher says, if the self doesn't exist, then you don't exist. Do you think you don't exist? I exist. Then what am I? What do we have to do? What we are doing is, we are looking at the body, then we are looking inward, subtle at the prana, inward, subtle at the mind, inward, subtle at the intellect, subtler than that, the blankness beyond the intellect. Then we are looking for something very subtle which we will find as the Atman. No. What is the Atman? Like the 10th person, it's the one which was looking and counting. What was that? You can never objectify it, but it's you. What you have to do now is, we'll do it in the meditation. We will try to locate this not as an object. Remember, it will never be an object. We'll locate it as the subject of all objects. As that witness which witnesses the body, the prana, the mind, the intellect, and the blankness beyond the intellect. But not a thing. The two great mistakes are to look for the Atman as a thing, number one. The second great mistake is to say the Atman does not exist, it's nothing. Thing? No. Nothing? No. I call it no thing. In the Upanishads, when it is said neti neti, not this, not this, by not this, it eliminates every object. Whatever you can think of, conceive of, imagine, experience in life, everything eliminated. It's not you. And the next not this, then it's nothing. Not that either. Not that either. What is that which is not an object and not nothing also? Right. Now we shall go into the meditation. And same way, this time we shall go into the cave of the heart. According to Adi Shankaracharya, he interprets the phrase cave of the heart as the cave of the intellect, understanding. in the cave of the intellect shines pure consciousness. That's what we are trying to locate. According to this author, Vidyaranya, he says the cave means this entire system of 5 sheaths. Body, prana, mind, intellect, the blankness beyond that, the sheath of bliss. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. These 5 sheaths, he says this is the cave. It's like a cave complex. A cave complex. And deep inside it, you don't have to be scared. There's no lion sitting there deep inside it. It's you. The real you. But it's not an object. All right. We shall follow this to find out our true self in the cave of the heart. Sit straight. Before that, I think one or few of you looked quizzical, so we can have 1 or 2 questions, I think. Yes, I know people are so I haven't forgotten the question answer session. We'll have 1 or 2 questions and then we can go into the meditation. Yes, I can see a hand there at the bottom of the stairs. Somebody waving vigorously. Yes. All right, a few questions.
Thank you.
We have time.
My question is this. The difficulty is getting past that mind intellect, because even to think I am not the mind, I'm not the intellect, you're using the mind to think that.
Right.
How do you get past that? I don't know about this blankness. Even to think blankness is a thought. It's using the mind.
Correct. Now, did you get her question? It's an important question. Even to transcend the mind of the intellect, you're still using the mind and the intellect, right? I am not the mind, clearly. This is an understanding in the intellect itself, right? So, ultimately, isn't the Atman the intellect? Isn't it a thought? Isn't it an idea? Isn't it a concept? How can you talk about something transcending the intellect? Good question. The answer is simple but a bit subtle. You have to follow this. Consciousness uses the intellect. It is not the intellect. I'll give you an example. The example is simple, but it answers your question. The example is this. When I say, I am happy, or I feel happy, I say that. I'm using my tongue. The tongue, the vocal instrument says, I am, look at my lips and the vocal instrument, I am happy, I feel happy. Who says it? The tongue. Clearly the tongue and the vocal cords, they are generating the sounds and the words. Now, do I mean that the tongue is happy? No. I'm just using the tongue to report a feeling in the mind. Correct? Right? Happiness is a feeling in the mind. I'm using the tongue to report it. Consciousness is beyond thought. But we have to use thought to point ourselves back to pure consciousness. Consciousness itself is not a thought. But when we talk about it, when we analyze it, we have to use the instrument. What is the instrument of analysis? Intellect. So the intellect is dealing with something which is not itself. It's a thought, no doubt, as you said, it's a thought. Pure consciousness, it's a thought. But the thought points at something. Right? When I use, pointing means like this. When I use the word book, book is a word. This in my hand is not a word. But the word points to this thing. Similarly, when I say pure consciousness, it's a thought. You're right. It's absolutely a thought. When I think about it, when I try to understand it, they are thoughts. They are just the intellect. But they are all pointing to something beyond the thought and intellect. Do you understand the answer? No? Yeah. Hold on to that answer about the example of the tongue saying, I am happy. The tongue is not happy. The mind is happy. When you say, I am the witness of the mind, that's a thought. But it points to a witness beyond the mind. There's a question there. Can we have it? Microphone.
So, consciousness is no thing.
Yes.
It can't point to something, But I've heard the concept of isness.
Yes.
Is.
Could you complete the thought?
No.
Isness. All right. I'll ask you to wait for the third session, because the third session is all about isness. It's an entirely different approach. It's about pure existence. The first session was about pure consciousness. This session is also about pure consciousness, which is a pure subject. It's not a thing. Third session will be about Sat, pure being, pure isness.
I am that.
Yes, we'll look at that. There's a question there.
The witness. So, what then is the witness? Okay, so what is that? What is the witness that observes me?
Correct. She's asking a very subtle question. Then what then is the witness? Clearly it's not the body. It can't be a physical entity. Clearly it's not the prana, the vital forces. Clearly it's not the mind. Clearly it's not the intellect. Clearly it's not something blankness beyond the body, mind, intellect. Then what is it? What can we say about it? We can say that it is consciousness, because of it everything is lit up. Is it true? Because the intellect and the mind and the prana and the body are all lit up and experienced because of that Atman. So it must be consciousness. No? I'll come to you. One thing we can say that. The other thing we can say is it must be a presence, because you feel the isness of that.
When you sit, when you meditate, you're just aware. You're aware, that the presence.
Yes.
And then sometimes it merges in the body. Is that the same?
It doesn't merge in the body. What happens is
you can experience it in the body.
it experiences the body, but the real problem is not experiencing the body. The real problem is forgetting that presence and taking yourself to be the body. The real problem is forgetting the Atman, the presence, the witness, and taking yourself to be the body. I am the awareness. In my awareness, a body appears and functions. No problem at all. But I am a body. Oh, all problems come to you then. Right? I am a body in awareness, or the body is in awareness which I am. No problem. But I forget the background awareness and I say I am the body. You see the difference between this? I am awareness with a body. That's all right. I am a body with awareness. Big problem. We normally think of ourselves as bodies with some kind of awareness.
So it's better than to think be more experienced with the witness, and rather than the other way.
Right, that's what I'm trying to do. Eliminate from your self-concept what you are not, and you're left with what you are. Don't try to directly grasp that. If you try to directly grasp it, you'll grasp an object. You'll either grasp the body or the mind or the intellect, some idea. You are the light which lights up this body-mind complex. You are the one, the 10th man is the one who counts the other 9. The 10th man is the one who sees the other 9. We'll use that for the meditation now. You are that which experiences the 5 sheaths. You are none of the 5 sheaths. Body, prana, mind, intellect, the blankness beyond the intellect. Annamaya, pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya, anandamaya. You are none of these 5. You are the one which experiences the 5. And you are independent of the 5. One more question. Yes. Is the microphone there? There's one question here. She's asking. There's a question. Yes.
Namaste, Swamiji. Going back to the question of what's the point of all this?
Yes.
Is the journey or is realizing Atman or God same as experiencing Atman or God?
Yes. Realizing it, understanding it, getting it, is it the same as experiencing? Remember, Advaita Vedanta, how we started off, it's a system of knowledge. Problem, ignorance. Solution, knowledge. The solution is knowledge. This Atman, if all this is true, then it must always be there. Isn't it? What's the problem is we are missing it. We get involved in the body-mind. God forgets that He's God. He's playing as not God, but He forgets that He's God. And that creates the problem. We think we are not pure consciousness, we are body-mind. And so whatever happens to body-mind is happening to me. That's the source of trouble. That's the source of suffering. The only way, see, the source is then ignorance. It's not that you are a body and you have to become pure consciousness. No. It's not that the 10th person is dead and has to become alive now. No. The 10th person just has to recognize himself as the 10th person. Then the problem is solved. You have to recognize that you are the unchanging pure consciousness, immortal. Then the problem is solved. Think about it. Every unhappiness remains at the level of the mind or the body. Still the body will persist for some time until death of the body. And you can continue to deal with the problems of the body as they arise. But you are safe. Do you see how this puts you in an invulnerable position? Wittgenstein used to say that religion is the search for absolute safety. It's absolute security. And it's possible. Absolute safety is possible in the self which you are, the pure consciousness. Nothing can touch it. It's because of the light of that everything else is lit up. Okay. You have a comment?
Yes, one more follow-up on the same thing. If the quest is to detach ourselves from this tiny identity and merge into the Brahman or Atman that we have,
yes,
that can be actually, based on my personal experience, it can be experienced right now through many other, let's say, senses, our eyes or our ears, listening to a grand music piece or watching a beautiful landscape. Right then and there, I feel that my identity or my association with this tiny identity dissolves.
Right.
And I feel that I'm one with the big.
Yes. These are mystical experiences. They are artistic experiences. We have them. But you know what Advaita would say to that? It does not correct the fundamental error. You get a remarkable experience of oneness with nature. And they are true experiences. But it does not solve your problem, because the deep-rooted understanding is, I am a human being enjoying nature and feeling one with nature. The root problem is, I am a human being, this body and mind. That is not corrected. For the time being, I get a nice feeling. The moment the feeling is gone, the freeway is there, the mortgage is there, the kids have to be sent to school, the body is suffering, all that remains. But whereas in this method, you know what this method does? It shifts your identity. It shifts your identity from a body with awareness to an awareness experiencing a body. I'll repeat that. Who am I? We first say, before Vedanta, we say, I am a body with consciousness. Now, after Vedanta, when I do the 5 sheaths and go deeper and deeper, I am consciousness experiencing this 5-sheathed complex called the body. I am consciousness. I am not the body. This shifting of the reference of the I, is what Vedanta accomplishes. It's not a new experience. We'll take the question later. Now we'll go into the meditation. All right. It's not a new experience. It's a new knowledge. Yeah. You know, there is this difference. If you are seeking new experiences, that's also valid. After all, Ramakrishna had remarkable experiences. That's called the way of the mystic. The way of the mystic. You get mystical experiences. And that's fine. But this is the way of knowledge, where you see what you are in itself, what the reality is. And that sets you free. That sets you free. All right. Sit straight and relax. Don't fight it if you feel like cupping or it's an itch. Don't fight it, just relax. Sit straight. Put your hands on your lap. Breathing normally. Relaxed. Lower body, both legs relaxed. Waist relaxed. Upper body relaxed. Both arms relaxed. Neck relaxed. Relax the head, back of the head, top of the head. Relax the face, all the facial muscles. Tongue inside your mouth, relax. Whole body relax, breathing normally. Breathing normally. Now I'm going to lead you through a series of exercises. Just follow my voice. Clench your fist in your lap. Clench it a little bit. Note the sensation. Relax the fist. Tell yourself, that's my hand. Those are my hands. Do it again. Clench the fist and relax. Label it hand. Label it body. It's an object. I am aware of it. It's not me. Breathe in and breathe out. Relaxed way, breathe in and breathe out. Note the sensation of breathing in. You may note it at your nose or at your belly. And the sensation of breathing out. Label it. That's the prana. It's an object. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of the breath coming in. I'm aware of the breath going out. It's an object. I am not it. It's something I'm aware of. It's not me. Go deeper. The sound of my voice. Other sounds. These are sensations, part of your mental sensory system. Clearly you are aware of the sensations. You are aware of the sounds. You are aware of the sensations of the body. You are aware of alertness or dullness, energy or tiredness in the mind, alertness. All these you are aware of. They are the mind, the thoughts which come in and go out. You hear my words. That's the mind. You're clearly aware of the mind. Sometimes there are thoughts, memories, things to do, discomfort. They are all thoughts in the mind. You are aware of them. Tell yourself, I am not the mind. This is the mind. I am not the mind. I observe the mind. Go deeper. Note it. The intellect which you are using right now, the power which we are using right now to understand all this and do all this, the intellect, the bright faculty of understanding, of knowing, clearly You are aware of that also. It's an object. I am that which is aware of it, the intellect. Label it. It's the intellect. I am not it. Beyond that, beyond the understanding, beyond knowing, if you try to see anything, if you try to reach further, there is nothing. Whatever comes up is either the body, or the breath, or the sensations and thoughts, or the intellect. Beyond that, blank. And you are aware of the blankness. Label it, a sheath of bliss. I am not it. It's an object. Now, like the 10th man, the wise man turning the hand of the 10th man towards himself. Who is the one watching all of these? The body, the prana, the mind, the intellect, the blankness. Make that turn inward. Sitting relaxed. Anything that arises, a sound, label it sound. Who is watching? A feeling in the body, label it body. Who is watching? Trying to understand, not understanding, label it intellect. Who is watching? Am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? Mind. Label it. Who is watching? Sitting relaxed. Breathing normally. Focus on the body, the sensations of the body. To what? To whom do these sensations appear? That one is not an object. I will chant Om 3 times and slowly open your eyes. eyes, looking down first, don't look up. Slowly open your eyes, looking down. As we begin to get it, you don't have to complete the 5 stages. Body, prana, mind, intellect, blankness, and then the subjective pure consciousness. You don't have to do that. Anything that comes up in your awareness, here is the body, immediately it's coming to me, the pure consciousness. Here is a thought. Where is it appearing? In me, the pure consciousness. Once you get it, any experience in the world will lead you back to yourself. Every experience of the world will be an experience of the Atman. In the Kena Upanishad it is said, Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam vidindati. What does it mean? In every experience of life, when you realize that Atman, you attain immortality. How do you do that? It should be evident. Think about it. All the 9 he counted, isn't it the same, the 10th person who's counting all the 9? Whatever they are, whoever they are, whether it's the world outside, the body or the prana or the mind or the intellect or just nothingness, all of it appears to one consciousness which you are. And that consciousness is free of those 5 sheaths, is free of the world. You say, can't be that easy. You're talking yourself into enlightenment. Then if it's not that easy, take your time. You can do a lot of yoga, you can practice a lot of meditation, you can do a lot of spiritual practices all night long and many nights also if you want. You come back to this point. Ultimately you'll come around to this point. The Guru says, when the student goes to the Guru, in the Himalayas, the Guru will tell him first, we'll try the highest. That thou art. What? What's that and what's thou? I don't understand it. Alright. Go and study the Upanishads and think about it, reason about it, meditate upon it. Does it for years together. I've learned all the Upanishads but I'm not enlightened yet. Okay, go and do meditation. Practice Patanjali Yoga. Sit straight and this is how you sit, this is how you breathe, this is how you withdraw from the world outside, this is how you concentrate. I fall asleep when I try to do that. Okay, Karma Yoga for you. Go and serve people who do good deeds in the world, cleanse the mind. You see, the work really starts there. Why it's difficult? People ask, if it's so easy, everybody could be enlightened. Actually, when you begin to get it, what we are talking about, the first reaction is it can't be that easy. Always there, always available, anytime you want it, you can be enlightened. But it can't be that easy. Why aren't more people enlightened? The reason is that the work starts at the level of purity of the mind. You say, I want to be enlightened, I want to know that I am the Atman, I want to chant and sing Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, I am of the nature of Shiva, I am of the nature of bliss. But I can't. Why not? Because the impurity of my heart binds me to the world. It binds me to the 9. It doesn't allow me to turn my attention back towards myself. It's something hateful, something very attractive, and I'm caught. In the path of bhakti, I want to be full of love, like Chaitanya, like Francis of Assisi. I want to be full of love and lost in the ecstasy of love of God and surrender to God. How beautiful. But I can't. I don't feel that love of God. Why not? It's again that impurity of the heart. The cleansing which we have not done. It binds us to the world. Our affections are scattered in the world. That's why we can't collect it and put it on God. In the path of dualistic love, the religions of dualism, that's the problem. Same problem. In the path of meditation, I really want to be calm and in samadhi. I can't, my thoughts go here and there all the time. Same problem, impurity of the heart. That bubbles up, boils up the moment I try to calm the mind down. So the cleansing, it's a long, unglamorous task that has to be done. But I'll end with this. In the path of knowledge, you can do two things. You can take the long, hard road trek up the mountain, step by step. That's one way most of us are doing. But if you get the insight right now, if you've got the insight today, you can relax knowing that you are Brahman and carry on with the project of cleansing the mind, concentrating the mind, cultivating love and devotion, a beautiful life. Cultivate that with absolute relaxation and safety. Because you know you're already Brahman. From that point of view, have a wonderful life. Be absolutely happy. Nothing ever can touch you. And all spiritual practices can be continued with the greatest vigor and greatest enthusiasm. What will they do for you then? Prayer and meditation and good works. They will allow you to enjoy this, what we have been talking about. It will become more and more real. It will become more and more stable. And it will help to remove sufferings in life. One teacher told me, south of India, he said, if you come to Advaita with a clean mind and heart, purified self, then this very teaching will liberate you here and now. Nothing more remains to be done. If you do not come with the initial preparation, then after this teaching, you will say, I got it, but it's something intellectual I got. It's a nice, clever philosophy I learned. Really, my problems of life remain the same. That's what you will feel. You see, the difference is not in the teaching, not in the realization also. The difference is in the preparation. The mind and the body do not obey your realization. You are at war with yourself. Your body and mind have their own agenda. That has not been cleaned up. They are not yet responsive to you. That's what makes it difficult. Otherwise, it's a wonderful thing to know this, to be centered in this, and then live your life. You will find a lot of calmness. Don't think that you have to remain like this all the time. No. I'll tell you something. After today, know it for certain. It's permanently available to you whenever you want it. When you are faced with aggravation, an aggravating person or the lack of a parking space or something, call upon it. This is an experience shining in the light that I have. And you will see it's there all the time. We will break for lunch now and then assemble back here at 1:45 for the third session.